This is Shaun with Foundation Solutions Group, and thank you for joining us at Solutions University today. So today we're going to talk about why you want to hire the right company to do your crawlspace encapsulation or your crawlspace repair. There are more and more companies all the time coming into this business because there's a relatively low level of entry with not a lot of fancy tools and whatnot. However, there is a lot of know-how. I like to call it the 80 and the 20. There's a lot of people that have the 80, but today I'm going to show you why the 20 makes such a powerful difference in the install of the crawlspace. In particular, I want to show you these are crawlspace fails in my eyes, and sometimes I'm called out to maybe propose a project and I get involved in the crawlspace and I'm looking at this and I'm scratching my head. So I want to show you a couple of things that I point out. I'm an advocate for quality, and everybody on my crews and whatnot, we are relentless on doing it right and doing it right the first time and doing every single crawl space from big, small, medium, large, extra large. They are all done exactly the same with my company. So it doesn't matter if you live 2 hours away, 5 hours away, we're going to do it the same. Just like my mother, my aunt, and uncle. It's that sense of pride and craftsmanship, and that's what we do as a company. So it hurts me when I see pictures like I'm about to show you because of the differences in the quality. And this picture here, if you're going to notice, there's pieces of vapor barrier that were cut and they were just left in the crawl space. There is oftentimes an electrician will come in after we install a encapsulation system and they'll leave some litter and whatnot there, and although that's disrespectful, if they knew what this encapsulation cost, they wouldn't leave those there. They would take the time to clean it up. But when you're the installation company and you leave your debris, and this is right in the front door area, they did 2 jobs, a mother and a daughter, and left these pieces in the crawl space. So unacceptable in my eyes. Maybe if you've had an encapsulation and you see some of these things in your crawl space, you need to call the company and address them. Have them come back out and fix their mistakes. Something here we're going to notice is there's a gap here. There's space here. We want that filled in. That acts as a chimney around that column, and that moisture from under that vapor barrier is going to come up into the system. It's going to make your dehue work harder. We might end up, if this was a moldy beam, in this case it looks relatively clean, but if it was, we want it foamed up so the moisture doesn't come in. Same is true at the top of the column. That needs to be filled up and capped off. It's so that the moisture won't come up. You've got to seal the system off to an almost airtight system in your crawl space. If not, you're spinning your wheels somewhat. And that's what happened in this crawl space. They still had a mold problem. So all these, is it one thing that was done wrong? No, it was several things that are done wrong in this crawl space, and then we have to come back and we have to fix. Contractors generally don't like fixing other contractors' mistakes. So it's easier just to hire a reputable company that does it right the first time and be done with it. And it's less stressful and you're happier and you'll be more satisfied. These are, they chipped the block. They got a little reckless with this house. They've got these fasteners here and they're coming around. We do more of a tailored job and get closer to the beam. Again, you're not foamed, there's no adhesive. Moving to the next picture, just not a good install. These are, they've taped around this water line, that's where it comes into the house. This is 3-inch tape. As long as I've been in the business, I don't know anybody that uses less than a 4-inch tape. I want a 4-inch tape, and I want it made by a reputable company like 3M or similar, because I know that tape is gonna stick. I know that tape is going to work. Anytime you have vapor barrier, you're going to graciously overlap that vapor barrier by at least a foot. And then you're going to tape the seam. If water is going to try to come in here, and you can see there's already insect activity and this kind of thing right here, and look at all the little bugs. So that's because there's water and moisture. If you have water and moisture, you have rodents, you have bugs, and you can see the condensation on the tape line here. So this was absolutely unacceptable. That tape, it might be 7 to 9 mil. I like to use a 9 mil tape. It's a little bit thicker. There's no protection here. So you got the 80, but not the 20. So the 20, the contributing. Anytime in a crawl space where you see webs, spider webs, this is the dehumidifier that's undersized severely. Remember, I got the call because they still have active mold growing in the crawl space and they still have separation in the wood floors upstairs. Purchased an encapsulation system to remedy this problem, and they were not successful. I got down here and I found this dehumidifier, and it's roughly yay big. The one we put in is about yay big. There's no comparison. If I'm driving a 4-cylinder car, it's a 4-cylinder car. That's a 4-cylinder. If I like to have a V8. If we put in a V8 in the car, and I might not need a V8, I might just need a V6, but I want the V8 in case I need it. So back here in this corner, I want the mold control just like I do close to the dehumidifier. So we want to put a system in that'll actually do it. And we have a great success with that. This dehumidifier has spider webs. So we have entry of air from the outside, moisture, and like I said, they've just not succeeded. And this is direct evidence that these webs are connected to the dehumidifiers. So that's a fail. More cobwebs. I'm not going to show the brand of that dehumidifier because this is the discharge line. We actually pump it into a separate condensate pump so that we can maintain that system and discharge it out. They're actually dumping this moisture under the liner, and you can see that the water comes back in. Looks like it's clogging here. This is not a good way to install a dehumidifier. It's not a good, you need to elevate it. It needs to have a discharge line. I prefer a sump pump. Now, in particular here on the wall, more cobwebs by the way, but see the debris that's down in here? What I noticed that they were butting up the end of the crawl space and being very stingy with their product. In our company, we're very gracious with the down in the valley, so to speak. And then we come back in and we use our 20 mil down in the valley. This company here used a 6 mil on the wall. They came down and came up to the flat part again. And so in my eyes, they cheated on this area right here. We do the 20 mil all the way up the wall to about this far. That way, if we have a water event or something, you're protected. Most contractors, if they're gonna be working under a house, they're gonna crawl down the side and they're gonna pull that liner off. So you have to be gracious with how much product you use. And I want this to be just as strong as this. Water is gonna follow the footer most oftentimes in a crawl space, and that's where you have a lot of activity if you have water getting into your crawl space. So therefore you wanna have your 10, 20 mil, 15 mil, 16 mil, whatever it is that you use, you wanna make sure that it is gracious, that it comes up the wall. So just showing more, not attached to the wall. Big no-no. We call them skips and misses. This is just an absolute fail. I can actually put my hand down behind this and touch the ground. There's no adhesive, there's no foam, there's no nothing. It's not mechanically fastened. I'm not sure how they have it hanging up there, perhaps a Christmas tree fastener. So when other companies that aren't in the foundation and waterproofing industry try to come in, because that looks easy, all we're doing is covering it up, right? Well, it's the 80, you might have that, but you don't have the 20. This customer, in my eyes, should have not even invested in this encapsulation because it's not achieving the goal, which is to have a conditioned space, no more mold, straighten up the humidity, high humidity and moisture, not have insects in my crawl space and whatnot. So anyway, moving on. Looks like they did mechanically fasten it, but there's no adhesive, no caulking. The caps is concreted, it's solid, a solid pier, that's okay, but it's not foamed here. More debris. This with the sump pump. It's an open pit sump pump. I asked the homeowner if they installed this system themselves because I was honestly convinced that that's what had happened. This is the discharge line that just run right under the liner. No lid. If you notice, there's no holes drilled in this liner. There's about 6 holes that I see. It's doing absolutely nothing. It's actually elevated, you can't see it in this picture, but it's actually too high. It's installed too high because they got tired of digging and decided to do it. If you did have water in your crawl space and this cord's laying on the bottom of the crawl space, you're probably gonna have problems by throwing a breaker, and then you're absolutely unprotected then. This discharge line, we go up to the rim and band board, out, freeze protection, and come down every single time. I don't think we've ever come out. This discharge line is below grade, folks. If water were to have an event, I know there's crap that was left in the crawl space, but if this was gonna be a water event, it's gonna cover up your discharge line, it's gonna hold your flow. So what we're looking at here is there's nothing. We build a frame, we take the old frame out. If we have to leave the old frame, we do a treated wood frame and then another frame inside of a frame, caulk it, foam it. A very professional install and a very thick door. This picture is taken for two reasons. Number one, it's not sealed off. Number two, the discharge line's right here just laying on the ground. A little bitty 1-inch line, you can see the water. I don't know if that's from discharging or if it just got done raining, but the other thing they did is, there's the discharge line. So here's the pop-up. So way too much water here. I don't think the discharge line made the water, I think this did. More gaps, discharge line. And what I wanted to share with you, something else. This might be the leach field. This is most likely a septic system, and they're discharging all this water into the leach field, so that's going to affect that homeowner down the road, big dollars and cents to fix, but you can't do it that way. You got to be aware of your surroundings and whatnot. But if we were picking up water in an open pit sump pump, we let all that moisture back into the crawl space. So they have a mold problem, right? How are you going to get rid of it if you can't get rid of an airtight lid? Put it on there, keep the moisture under that cover, have it sealed off, use your caulking. So there's a lot more to it than just putting in a liner and putting up tape and smacking against the wall. So I want to discourage you, unless you are a perfectionist. And I mean, if you're a DIYer and you try to do your crawl space, it's going to take you probably 6 weeks on Saturdays to do a small crawl space, and then you're going to get all these details. But it's quite an endeavor. It's very labor intensive, and it's not like wrapping a present. There's a lot to it. You want to get it right. If not, when I put my finger in this crawl space, they still have active grease tracks, which shows the mold was still active. The dehumidifier, because it's picking up the moisture that does in the bucket, just constantly runs. So they're going to see that on their electric bill. It's not big enough in the first place. So crawl space fails, just not good things. Thanks for joining us today. And remember to call Foundation Solutions Group for all your foundation repair needs.